updated video for the 14th of August 2023. Now I was just looking at the euro, and what we saw quite an aggressive move to the downside. We saw like a retracement here, but it's a bit more measured. This is a little bit more knee-jerk, I think. This is a little bit more sudden at the selling. This was like, it looks like a retracement. I wonder whether or not this might be the peak here, because this is a quite aggressive selling on the Euro FX. This is like quite leisurely and measured. This is quite aggressive. So obviously, you know, we've got a long way before we've got the Euro USD sell because of the distance between the two. And also note that the dollar dipped as well, 3,000 to 2,600. There's a decrease on the dollar, quite a strong decrease on the euro. Okay, so bear that in mind. Okay, yen, and then we can take the euro off. Well, yen is negative, but we have come off the lows. Okay, so it's worth noting. And we've come from minus 79, so it's quite bearish. And we went to 83, so we're more bearish than we were the week prior. Okay, so be careful with the yen. And we know that they heard a very long yen, and so I think they're probably going to get punished. So such is the way of sentiment. Unfortunately, when they form a big collective bias, they're probably going to get punished. And unfortunately, the COT data is agreeing with more yen weakness. All right, so be careful if you've got cross yen, which I think probably some of you might have. So looking for a little bit more downside on the yen, but whether or not we're going to break these supports again, we might do. So we have to be careful. Yen off, oh no, actually euro off, and then Aussie on. Aussie choppy, very choppy, and we come from minus 51 to 43. So we've still got a long way before we get to the zero. And if we do get the zero, then we're going to have like a head-on collision with the USD. So it's going to be very interesting, Aussie USD. So a little bit of distance away between those two interchange. Aussie off, pound was on a complete tear, and it really pumped, and quite aggressive selling, 49 to 47, so it's a decrease of the pound, but we really pumped because the Bank of England very aggressive on their 50 basis point hike, and there's that big move that we saw on the pound. So positive but less positive. We can see we come off the highs, but do note that the dips were bought every time we did knee jerk. There's one here, there's a big one here. So we might be in a situation again where it jerks down and it might be a buy, but if the euro is also aggressively selling off, it's going to impact the pound, because obviously there's a connection there, isn't there? The correlation is fairly strong with the euro and the pound, especially against the USD. So be careful. I'm probably going to say be careful quite a lot this week. Last week was an absolute roller coaster. It was quite choppy. And the dollar CAD isn't really anything that we can trade here because the Canadian dollar declined with the USD. So it's a good job that we waited for that. Had the Canadian dollar been bought, we're looking for dollar CAD sells, but there's no trade set up there. So hopefully you understand the blue line was ticking up and the grey line ticking down. That would be a dollar CAD trade there. That would be a UC short. But unfortunately, they're both ticking down. So there isn't anything to be said there. Note how strong they are against the yen. You know, so if you're looking for a currency pair, pound, euro, CAD, USD, all stronger than the yen. All the way down here. And they have sold it since. All right, so the yen's looking a bit hairy, a bit scary. Gold quickly, ticking down. I think maybe here, possibly 142. 142. Oh wow, 142. Oh okay, 142.851. 141. So we're coming up to that. Can you see? There might be some support here. If we break that, then I guess we'll be hit this one, and then possibly down here. So it's very hard to forecast, isn't it? Sort of, we broke that downtrend to the upside, and it looks like we're just sort of range bound, going a bit sideways. Currently in between that low and then that high, that low and that high. So we're just a little bit range bound. It will depend, I guess, on the treasuries in the US. They have been pumping a lot, and if they carry on continuing to pump, then it's going to put a bit of pressure on gold, and we might see more selling off. And so that's how that's going to work. So you have to keep an eye on your treasuries, which we do in the Discord every morning. Gold off, Kiwi on, probably sideways, I imagine. Just chop in and stuff. Looked like we were going to get a crossover, but we didn't. We nearly had one here. It was like, nope, we're not going to buy the Kiwi over the USD. And it looks like the similar situation has happened again. So the dollar is just slightly stronger than the New Zealand dollar. Just there, you know, we had a rejection here, and the big fish, the whales were like, well, no, we'll hold on to our dollar longs as opposed to Kiwi longs. It looks like the same sort of things happened here. Remember, the USD is definitely a safe haven compared to the New Zealand dollar. That might be indicative of potentially something to be, you know, careful of. Be careful of the NU currency pair. So it looked like we were going to get a buy, but it was like, nope, they sold it. Only slightly, but we didn't get the cross. Okay, so maybe an omen there for risk, but potentially. Kiwi off, Swiss on, and sideways. So there's probably nothing to really comment on here on the Swiss until we go into positive territory, and that's above the 0 line. So I will need to reset the QDB scores now, and so I'll do that now, and then I'll be back tomorrow. So note that we're very extreme on Kiwi CAD, Aussie Swiss, and the Kiwi Swiss. So just bear that in mind. Be probably going to have to see reversals because it's so extreme. Okay, so I'm going to reset the scores now, and I'll speak to you guys tomorrow morning. Right, try and get there nice and early.